I'm Tate Sorvig. I'm owner and head coach at Great North Fitness and Adventure. I'm born and raised here. I have a wonderful wife, Ashley, and two children, Dawson, who is 5, and Katie, who is 2. Both have birthdays coming up here in October. They're growing like weeds. And this whole business element really is a big part of how my family situation operates too. So we'll touch on that a little bit coming up. But coming up, I grew up in small business. My father and my uncles own and operate St. Hilaire Supply. I started working there the summer I turned 12, and hard work was the probably number one thing that was instilled in me through that time. It was, we don't stop till the work is done, and Sorvigs never take a break, and I got to see that exemplified in my dad and my uncles. Like, saw it every day. So that I'm just very thankful, very grateful for all the other wonderful things as well that came out of working there. I spent about 15 years working at St. Hilaire Supply in a wide variety of capacities, from sweeping the floors and and loading trucks to doing continuous improvement and sales runs and all kinds of things like that. So lots of great experience seeing the inner workings of a business and watching the heart and soul that goes into that. But that really wasn't my passion. I wanted to be a paleontologist until I saw what paleontologists actually wind up doing. Like, what do you mean you don't find dinosaurs all the time? So then I decided wildlife biology would be the thing, and so I went into biology, got my degree at Carleton College, and after that I went to UND for another year to get some classes that I couldn't get there. Had a phenomenal experience, learned so much through that time. And then I kind of fell off track with the wildlife side. I worked out in Montana in a few different jobs. I was a field instructor, taking these high school kids out in the mountains, teaching them conservation biology and camping out, and it was awesome. It was one of the best summers of my life. And there's a lot of education and whatnot that went into that as well. So it was a great time. I got to be on a wolf trapping team for the Minnesota for the Montana state government agency. Done a lot in the wildlife side, and then I wound up coming back to supply and working through there in a lot of different ways. But really what has always kind of driven me was this passion to help people and take things apart and figure out how they work and find a way through it. And the biological world has really been where my head's been at all along. Love hunting, love fishing, love camping. I guess I don't love fishing, but I enjoy fishing. But anything outside. And where fitness comes into the picture is that's always been a bridge to me to go have fun. It was always a way to have freedom. The fitter I was, the more fun I could have, the more enriching experiences I could have with the people that I cared about, right? More adventures I could go on. And I was blessed to go on lots of adventures. Whitewater rafted the Grand Canyon, and rivers up in Alaska where I didn't see another person besides the guy I was with for 11 days. I did a study abroad gig out in Africa for 3 months. We were camping out in the bush, chasing rhinos around, doing all kinds of stuff. Love it. And so I wound up getting my first personal trainer certification in 2007 and started training people on the side. And it's like, you guys want to do cool stuff too? Let's do cool stuff together. It's gonna be great. So that was kind of where that started. Within that realm, I I worked at various health clubs, got to work at a gymnastics gym. When I was at UND, I was in the ROTC, so I was involved in a soldering competition, learned a lot of great skills there. My cousin actually was into CrossFit long before I was. He competed in a few of the early CrossFit games, so he's a super stud. But at the time, I was actually running a little mixed martial arts club in college, and I was in pretty good shape, and CrossFit was pretty fatty at the time, and so it was, we did some workouts together, and I was like, man, he's really fit, but I can do what I'm doing. Okay, I wish I would have paid more attention at the time. Anyway, that's always been there. So since 2007, so we're looking at 14 years we've been training people in some capacity. 2015, there's a lot of things that kind of happened all at the same time. My grandfather, this was the big one, really hit the downward spiral with Alzheimer's and prostate cancer. And my grandfather, he was just this like universally competent, just mechanical genius. He had this workshop to go into as a kid, and it's all these crazy projects. He's got welders and like tools for working on clocks, and just building a lighthouse out of wood, and there's always something crazy going on in Grandpa's workshop. And Alzheimer's took all that away, right? And watching him go down that spiral, and watching my family watch him go down that spiral, had a huge impact on me. Health and fitness isn't just freedom to go do the things you want. It's freedom from all these chronic diseases that are really plaguing our society. Long before COVID ever came in, we've been in a healthcare crisis, right? And so that really lit a fire under me to, that became my mission. I don't want to, put my family through that. I don't want to watch my dad go through that. I don't want my kids to have to deal with this. I want to be tap dancing at my 80th birthday party, and I want to take as many people with me as I can, right? That's the big thing for me. And so had an opportunity to take over this small gym that was operating out of the racquetball club, same place we're operating out of now. And that was quite the experience, but we jumped on it. And it was like, all right, we're going to do this. My cousin had a couple gyms out in California, so we had talked about it, and they, this deal looked great, so cool, we went forward with it. And that's when this whole story really gets started. Man, I always fancied myself like a little entrepreneur or whatever. Like I always wanted to get into business and do things and make something that could create an impact in the world. And this was the key, right? But it wasn't just about fitness. Like I like I said, I used fitness to go do stuff, and that's really where the value is to me. Like I don't care so much about how much I can lift of this or that or whatever. I care about what happens outside the gym, and that's the stuff that I wanted to give people. So I wanted to be able to build a gym that would help people in the real world. And so the original vision, and still what I'm gunning for, but there's these steps, these walls that I've had a really hard time bashing through so far. But we're building some functional fitness, right? So we're getting out of pain, we're making sure your body moves the way it's supposed to move, and then we're making sure you can do it faster and stronger and do the things that you want to do. But the other side, what was supposed to be built around it, is the adventure side. I want to be able to offer ways for people to get into all of these amazing things that you can do outside. Kayaking and canoeing is getting to be a big thing. Running, survival training. I used to do all kinds of stuff with primitive survival work. I'd love to have a full-on gymnastics program, a parkour program. I'd love to have opportunities for people to participate in like a communal garden situations. We can learn more about food and how to grow your own food. Even, maybe having a milk cow at some point or something. Man. Okay, you only have to milk the cow once a week. That's much better than twice a day, every day. My wife grew up on a dairy farm, so my father-in-law's like, yeah, that sounds great. Keep that thing away from me, But there's so much that goes into health and fitness, and being able to go and use it, and martial arts side as well, I guess, be the other thing that kind of loops around. Being able to use your fitness is just one other way that you're going to ensure that you're going to keep it for as long as possible, right? So the root, the core, was the gym, and then you put all this stuff around it where it gives people opportunities to connect with each other and go and use their fitness in a fun and exciting way. That's been my goal. We're still stuck on this core part for the most part, and that is it's kind of a reflection of my limitations as an entrepreneur so far. It's been a wonderful struggle. I've loved every minute of it. It's been really hard on my family, just because I have this work ethic that's been drilled into me, right? And so, there's a problem, I'll just work harder. I'll just work more. And that's not actually how it works, is the trouble. Recently I was talking with a friend of mine. He has much the same problem. We're both really, really driven towards these different missions, and we're trying to create this impact and do these things. But that's it. We're trying to carry the ball all the way, right? So we're talking about it in this football analogy. I feel like I've heard something like this before, but it really struck me the other day. If you're gonna be the quarterback, and you just try to do a quarterback sneak every play, you're just gonna get pummeled into the ground. You're not gonna win. The way the quarterback wins the game is by focusing on the handoff or the pass. You can't be the one to do it every time. And so that's been a major focus. And I've known that I need these systems, I need to learn how to delegate and all this stuff all along, but it never really meant anything. It's hard to connect to those words. But it's like, instead of chasing the touchdown, chase the handoff. That makes sense for some reason. So that has been where my focus has shifted, and it's gone a long way toward helping to create those processes, to create those systems, to identify and talk to the people that I need to talk to in order to get the ball moving towards that end zone. And that's when you talk about small business ownership, one thing that they say, yeah, it's great because you get to work for yourself, but the problem is you're working for a lunatic. And that's that's it. So to protect yourself from your own lunacy and protect your mission from your own lunacy, you need these other people that are far more reasonable than you are to help move the needle and push things along. And so I've got some phenomenal people with me right now. I think if we get in our heads too much, it can feel like a very lonely journey, right? Feel like you're all alone. You have to do it all by yourself. But if we look around and we look at things with a grateful heart, we realize, man, I've got so many people with me that I wouldn't be here without those people. And that alone is such an encouraging piece, because that shows you that there's other people that believe in your mission as well, and that want to be with you carrying that ball to whatever capacity that they can, which makes it much easier to ask. And that's a hard thing to do. These days for me, asking for help. I wouldn't even say it's so much like a pride thing. It's not that I think I'm the only one that can do it, because I know I'm not. There's a lot of people who are way better at all this stuff than I am. But it's like, this is my mission, and I don't want to bother these other people. They're busy too. They've got stuff to do. I don't want to be a bother, So just reframing all that in my head has been huge. Okay, kind of wrap this whole thing up here. How that mission kind of plays, and how I see things moving forward. Health and fitness is something that has suffered from a lot of spin, right? There's so much just skeezy, slimy, money-grubbing stuff out there, right? These ads and whatever, and it drives me crazy because it really taints the value of it all. And when I grew up, you always hear a very sort of derisive attitude towards anything that's healthy. Like, oh, I got that healthy crap or whatever. Like, I'm going to take my candy bar or whatever it is. You get the feeling like people go to the doctor, and I mean, pretty much any malady you can think of across the board, from, recovering from an injury to mental health, like all of the literature shows that diet and exercise is like the number one recommendation, right?
By far.
Yeah, by far. Yeah. And doctor tells someone that, and they're like, okay, what else? But yeah, I got it. What? Anything else that I could do? Anything else at all? Yeah, and it's a tough attitude to come at, especially where, like, my particular business and brand of training tends to look really intimidating and look really inaccessible to people. Like, talk to people, and it's like the first thing they say when they find out what they're doing, oh, I could never do that. No. That's not it. Everybody needs much of the same things. And if you're following the principles that work, the basic principles that hold your body together, I can use those principles to train somebody who needs to lose weight, who needs to, who's in horrible chronic pain from various surgeries or whatever. I can help the guy who's on a championship football team who can squat 500 pounds. I use the same principles, and I can move those people toward the goals that they have with those principles. The methods are many, the principles are few. You understand the principles, you can make your own methods. And that's where a lot of my success in my practice has come. But the challenge to the business is now saying, okay, you can do that, but you can only do that for one person at a time or a small group of people at a time. I need to help my coaches. I need to give them the ability to do that. I need to help them understand those principles and how to use them. I need the system in place. Like, if you have this come up, these are the avenues that we need to go down. And the more that I can impart that to them, the more they can carry the ball. So the impact that this business can have on our community. Like, I believe in having a strong community. I want my kids to grow up in a strong, healthy community. The level of impact I can create is going to depend on how well I can impart that, how well I can build a system that doesn't need me. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's a skill set that I'm about here on, and I need it to be about here on. That means I need some help. So, how can Advanced TRF help move Great North Fitness and Adventure along? I would love to talk to some people about how they do that. How do you build a team? How do you manage a team? What are those things that I need to make sure that I'm taking care of every day that makes sure I can move that needle forward? Maybe I need to partner with somebody. Maybe I need to figure out how to hire some of these roles out. These are things that I've been looking at for a while and problems I've been trying to solve for a while. And I think it's crucial to the long-term sustainability of my business and my mission. So, 19 minutes, 40 seconds. Got it. Anyway, that's what I got for you.
So Tate, what do you see as your biggest hurdle right now? I know that you have you were saying that your core is right here and you want to get this. what would be one thing, you know, that you're, is it, you know, you need to be in a different place because you've outgrown the gym? I know that you really utilize, you go down to the park, you run parking lots,
Sure.
I mean, you utilize what there is,
Mhm.
but, you know, like, in the garden and all that, you know, like,
Yeah. I think that part of what's happened with the limitations that I'm bringing to the table is we're growing right to the cusp of where we absolutely need to move. And then when you start going beyond that, the delivery, the customer experience degrades at the edge, right? And so I've got a ceiling where I've been at for quite a while. And getting past that ceiling, one, I need to do a better job of making sure that I'm delivering 100% across the board. The client experience has to get better every time there's a new client, right? And so that's where those systems come into place. That's where having people that can help make sure nobody slips through the cracks comes into place. The space itself, it's a great space. It's served me well. I would love to get into a larger space. It would open up a lot of possibilities, a lot of opportunities. I've been hesitant to move without having those systems in place, because I know that I need that to be there, right? And so getting those things locked in and tying that into a better space, or even, you know, knocking the wall out inside the space I have, like there's a lot that can be done with where we're at. But expansion would be extremely helpful. But I think it's important that it is done prudently. So, did that answer your question? I think so. Okay.
does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I'll finish with my question and start with first by saying I grew up with your sister, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the Sorvigs confused me with who's.
That's fair. We get that a lot.
Alright, I grew up with your sister and she was always like this infectious positive personality, and it must be something you guys got from your parents, because that's how I feel about you too. I've just loved getting to know you the last couple of years, and you're one of the few people I know that genuinely am in a better mood every time after I have a conversation with you, because you're so positive and reflective. But I want to challenge you, because you had quite a few negative comments there in your speech that normally I don't normally hear. So I'm challenging you on that. But for those, generally speaking, what are like and this is gonna be challenging for you to keep it short. What are 3 things that every person could or should focus on a daily basis to live a happier and healthier life?
I'll give you 5. Okay, so there's 5 key elements to health.
I
Right?
actually remember you saying 5, that's why I said 3. I was curious if you could do it.
Well, I could, but I'm good. They're all important. So the 5 elements that you need to make sure you're taking care of on a daily basis. You got nutrition, you've got movement, you've got rest, you got your mindset, and you've got your relationships. Those come from the Blue Zone study. So it's a study of places on Earth where they have the highest per capita instance of people who live to be 100 or more. Okay, and so they're like, oh man, these people are living a long time, they must be doing something right. What are they doing? The single biggest common denominator is the relationships. The quality and depth of the relationships that you keep in your life are so profoundly effective on your outcome. You think about what happens if you have a solid support structure versus not having that. How much stress you eliminate from your plate. You have a problem, you have people to help you, you can laugh, right? Those relationships are so important. And so talk about tap dancing at your 80th birthday party. If I'm tap dancing by myself at my 80th birthday party, I screwed up, right? I got to bring some people with me. And so that's number 1. If you can focus on those relationships, that's huge. And that has been something that during this struggle, and gotta keep driving that nose toward the grindstone, I haven't done a good job of holding together, and that's where I say, like, family has suffered a lot. A lot of my friendships have suffered. I've been at the gym, and so that's another big, more selfish reason where I need to get this thing together so it doesn't need me to that extent, right? So relationships, number one. The other things really depend on themselves so much. Things you can do for mindset. You need to be aware of what you're thinking and why. Where are your feelings, and question them. Is this serving me? Like, I'm having this feeling right now. Is that actually what's going on? Now, you question those things to some degree. It gives you control. It doesn't mean you need to be a, stinted, stuffed shirt, I don't feel anything. You need those feelings. But is it the right feeling, and is it serving me? That sets the tone for, am I going to go work out? Am I going to go for a walk? Am I going to go garden? Am I going to go, move my body? Am I going to make good, healthy choices for my food? Right, we know what that is. Like your mom was telling you when you're a kid, eat your vegetables. Stop eating so much junk, right? Those things are important, and it's not as complicated as people would lead you to believe. Go to sleep. That's probably my biggest struggle, actually.
What is that?
Yeah. Sleep. If you don't get sleep, you're really bad at all the rest of those things. So fixing sleep is important. A lot of good things you can do for sleep. But where relationships are concerned, as far as what I think, if you can do one simple thing, is try to make somebody laugh. Reach out, send a stupid joke to somebody. You keep that connection going just a little bit with something positive, and it makes a world of difference. The negative things that I was bringing up, it's the struggle, and I'm going to be real about that. It hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows, but it has been incredibly fulfilling. Watching a 50-some-year-old woman climb to the top of a rope for the first time in their life after, being traumatized by it in gym class in second grade or whatever, and they've got these just tears streaming down their face when they get back to the bottom because they're shaking because they're so proud of themselves and they're just amazed by just the power that they have in them that they had no idea. Like, it's moments like that. It's when people, they kind of like, I just realized the other day, like, I don't hurt anymore. I'm happier at work. I'm not a jerk to I'm a foreman, and I'm not a jerk to all the people there. Like, everyone, people are telling me I'm different. Like, that goes so far beyond just, doing push-ups in the gym. That changes people's lives. And I'm not doing the work, they're doing the work. And that's what matters, because that's how you get your freedom.
Woohoo.
Yeah.